welcome back. And we're just gonna have a little fun out here today. We're gonna go through all the DJI Action cameras. We're on the 4 right now with a Black Mist. We're gonna have Black Mist on all 4 of these, or 3 of them. 3 of them, sorry. There'll only be 3. We're gonna go switch over to the OG, the Action 1, or I guess you can call it the Action 1. I don't know, we'll call it the Action 1, that'd be fine. And just give it a try, see how it looks. I did a video on that not too long ago of whether you could use the Action 1 to vlog in 2024. So let's go ahead, let's switch over to the OG Osmo Action. All right, so here we are on the Action 1, the OG Osmo Action. Now this camera here, I'm gonna have to say it changed a lot for action cameras. Gave you that front-facing screen, which a lot of these action cameras didn't have, especially like GoPros. Now for me, it was a big change because I went from like 1080p camcorders to actually 4K. Now, granted, it is an action cam, small sensor, but still, it was definitely an upgrade from what I had before. Now this camera, it boasted a 1 over 1 2/3 inch sensor, or 2.3 inch sensor. And then really as far as a mic goes, it did have something a little bit different than maybe some of the other ones did. They had this, what was called, I want to say it was called Sonova adapter, that you could put a lav mic along with this, which was pretty awesome. And it just plugs right into the side into the USB-C, and you could actually charge this camera through that adapter. Now what I've done here, and I will show you, is I have the OG mics from DJI, and I have this in a small rig cage, which we'll get to that here in just a second of what all you can do with that. And then I'm just using a TRS to TRS cable plugged into the adapter, plugged into the receiver for the OG mics. And then I have the mic right here. Man, it's a little hotter than I thought it was out here. Got some clouds out, so no sun beating down on me, but still, whew, that humidity, man. I'm gonna start sweating here in a minute. All right, anyway, let's get on with this. Now, I have this small rig cage, as I said, and the small rig cage is actually really nice because it allows you to adapt 52mm filters on the OG Action. And what was nice about the OG Action is that it only had that 145-degree field of view as compared to the 155. We'll get to that later. But that allowed you to put filters on top of it. Actually, I could even put a variable ND on top of this Black Mist, and you still would not see it show up in the camera or in the frame or in the video like you'd see on the Action 2, 3, or 4. Of course, it's not as good as the newer ones, the Action 2 or the Action 4, but it's still pretty dang good. And when you're thinking about YouTube and social media, you probably really don't need much more than this. And if you need any more information about this, just go out and look. You can find it on the internet everywhere. It's really not that hard. And I know I've seen these things going for a couple $100 on eBay and stuff like that. If you're looking to get into doing stuff like this, it's a perfect camera. But I'll show a picture of exactly how it's set up here, and then we're gonna move over to the Action 2 and talk a little bit about that. But before we get to the Action 2, which I have right here in my hand, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Come on, help me out here. Trying to get to 500. I just want to get to 500. Come on. Here we are on the A2, the Action 2. I gotta say, I love this camera. I think this camera was really, really misunderstood. I love the way it stands vertically instead of horizontal. And if you get the right cage, which I will show you, you can put a Black Mist filter on it, no problem. And you can also have the OG mic hanging off the side of it, no problem. with that cage that you buy for it. And I was actually able to find it on AliExpress. It's not an affiliate link, but I'll have it down there with all the other links that I have for all the stuff that I use. I'll put the K&F filter on there. I believe that, yeah, this is a Black Mist K&F. It's a 37 millimeter. That's what this cage is used. So let's get a little bit more into the Action 2/3, because let's face it, both the same camera, same lens, same processor, everything else is the same. So there is a little bit of difference between the Action 2 and the Action 3. The Action 3 had fast charging and a few other things that the Action 2 did not have. But like I said, the camera size, lens size, sensor size was all the same between the two cameras. Basically the same camera, they just used a different form factor. Between the Action 3 and 2, both had the 1/1.7 inch CMOS sensor, but then they changed it to 155-degree field of view, which is probably one of its drawbacks as far as putting filters on this thing and trying to use different filters. A lot of people like that wide field of view. I don't really myself personally, I don't use it. So I have to use steady on this one, and it kind of crops it in just a little bit. I think it looks a little bit better than the Rock Steady, which is super, super wide. Now this camera was brought out in 2021, and I didn't even mention what the difference as far as frame rates. The Action 1, the OG Action, it went up to 4K, 60 frames per second, HD 240. This one goes 4K, 120 frames per second, HD 240. So a little bit difference. And then if you really want to see all that information, just go online and you will definitely find it. Now this Action 2 is a camera that I'll probably just keep around for a while. I love it. I really probably need to use it more often. I know it doesn't have the bigger sensor of the A4, but I love the form factor. I love how it looks. I love how it sits. And the fact that you can just plug that OG mic directly into the side of this and it still works really, really well, gives you fairly decent audio. I'll probably just keep this camera. And the fact with this cage that you're looking at right now, you can put variable NDs on it, or you could put the Black Mist like I have, or you could actually even put a close focusing filter on this cage. Now, this does take away the modular design. It is what it is, and it works. It works all right. And it does make the camera a little bit heavier than what it normally would be, but that's okay too. I'm not that worried about it. But yeah, this is the Action 2. What do you guys think? I'm doing this all in D-Cinelike. That is the flat color profile. I did that with the Osmo Action 1. And I'm doing that with the Osmo Action 2. And then when I do the Action 4, it will be normal color profile. All right, so now I think it's time. Let's get out the latest and greatest, Action 4. And once we get done with that, I'll kind of let you know what I'm thinking about for the Action 5. A lot of rumors out there going around. I'll tell you what I like about those rumors, what I don't like about the rumors coming in the future, because I don't think, from everything that I've read and saw online, the Action 5 Pro is what they're saying it's going to be. It's probably not going to be much different than the Action 4. So let's switch over to the Action 4. All right, here we are on the Action 4. Man, I am sweating. It got really, really hot down here on the river. Got the Ohio River right out there. Only somebody out there on a freaking boat. I didn't get it out on the boat last weekend. I had too much work to do around the house. But yeah, we are on the Action 4. We have a Black Mist filter on there. You can check that link right there on how I put this Black Mist on here. The weird thing is that this is a K&F Black Mist, but the other K&F Black Mist that I got will not do what this Black Mist does. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know why it's like that, but yeah, it does not do the same thing. But anyway, we are on the Action 4 normal color profile on this one because I love the normal color profile and it does a fantastic job. Now, as we all know, this camera has the 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor. a little bit bigger than the last one. Go up to 4K 120, HD 240 of course. And it has that 155 degree field of view, which is, I'm not a big fan of, never have been. I really don't like the 155 degree field of view. But this camera here, you can use in normal color profile. Now you can also use it as a D-Log M and color grade and all that stuff. This is 10-bit, which is a little bit different than the other ones, which can only run 8-bit color. It has a pretty good battery life as far as I can tell. Fast charge, all that good stuff. Just a fantastic little camera. And you know, it works great for walking around vlogging, and it's kind of discreet, small. Like I said, you don't have to have that receiver hanging off of it. And as I'm gonna say, the last two, the OG and the Action 2, and I even think the Action 3, the normal color profile, just really wasn't that great. But hey, you know what? The normal color profile on this thing is just fantastic. It's perfect. I've got it hooked up with the mic 2, which makes it so much easier than the other two where you have to have the receiver. All right, so that's about it on this camera. You know, you can go out there and find all the information that you need, but I thought that was pretty interesting to see the progression of DJI cameras. Action 5, seen a couple different things. Seen some that say it is going to be a 1-inch sensor, which is what I think it should be. If you're going to make it an Action 5, then it has to be a 1-inch sensor. There's no reason why you couldn't have a 1-inch sensor, being that you put it in the Pocket 3. Now, a couple other things I would like to see on the Action 5. If not, I don't think you're going to see that. After a 1-inch sensor, then I would love to see the ability for this camera to focus similar to the Pocket 3. Now, if it could do that and lock on somebody and focus and kind of blur that back, you get a little bit of a separation, some background separation, which would definitely help the overall picture. Now, on an Action cam, I would imagine that would have to be able to toggle that on and off, which I don't think would be that hard to do. But yeah, that's something I would definitely like to see in the next rendition of this camera, whether it be the Action 5, which they're saying Action 5 Pro or whatever it is. And then the elephant in the room, get rid of this 155 degree field of view. The 145 is perfectly fine. That's all you need. Or, I don't know. I just don't like the 155 degree field of view. It kind of limits what this camera can do. But I just really don't like that look. It's just too wide and too, I don't know, too warpy, too distorted. You can even with standard D-warp, you're in rock steady. It just looks kind of funky back in the background. You know, buildings start turning this way. I don't know. I just think get rid of the 155 degree field of view, which I don't think they'll do anyway. They're not going to listen to me, but it would be nice to get rid of that. And the reason why you're not seeing that too much on this, because I use Rocksteady Plus, which kind of crops in this picture just a little bit and helps take away that look of the 155 degree field of view. What's up? What's up? What's happening? All right, look at the money. Look at the money. You got the money right there. Some guys flashing some money at me. But anyway, we're gonna walk on down this way and get back to work. But you know, the way these cameras progressed over the years is pretty awesome to see. And I think you can actually see the difference in resolution. Even though they're all 4K, they all definitely get better as they put out these cameras. Now, will the Action 5 be a 1-inch sensor? I don't know. Rumors has it that it will, and then I've seen other rumors that says it's going to be an Action 5 Pro with the same lens as this, same sensor as this, but a different processor. We'll see. If that's going to be the case, then I'll just keep the Action 4. I wouldn't get rid of the Action 4 for a new processor. I mean, yeah, it might be nice to have that new processor, but overall, it's still the same sensor. But I don't know. I'll have to see what happens when it comes out. We'll see exactly what happens. Anyway, that's all I got. Hope you all enjoyed this. Definitely was fun getting back there, looking at the old Osmo Action 1. I guess we call it that. The Osmo Action 2/3. And then getting out this Osmo 4, which I haven't used it in quite some time. So it was fun getting out there with this camera. But anyway, man, that feels good, that breeze. Woo. All right, anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Take care. You know, as always, be safe out there. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Subscribe. Don't forget that. Hit that button.